The Rockefeller Center fountains sparkled under December lights, and Harper Caldwell knew she was about to ruin everything. It wasn't paranoia. It was absolute certainty, because Brent Ashford, her boyfriend of 2 years, son of one of New York's biggest real estate moguls, was kneeling in front of her, holding a Tiffany blue velvet box, while at least 50 people took photos and filmed with their iPhones. Harper. Brent's voice echoed across the plaza, amplified by pure social anxiety. You're the most incredible woman I've ever met. You make me want to be a better man. Will you marry me? The problem? Harper didn't love Brent. She liked him, respected him, found him attractive in a generic insurance commercial protagonist kind of way. But love, that thing that made your heart race, that made you wake up at dawn just to watch someone sleep. No. And now, with 50 strangers holding their breath, 3 Japanese tourists with hands on their chests, and a guy who looked suspiciously like a Page 6 reporter, she needed to decide. Brent. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. A group of college girls in the corner of the plaza started chanting. Harper felt sweat trickling down her neck despite the 43 degrees weather. Her best friend Sloane had warned her. He's going to propose at Christmas. I heard him rehearsing in the bathroom at the office party. You heard him rehearsing in the bathroom? Harper had asked, horrified. He was practicing facial expressions in the mirror. It was disturbing. And now here she was, living the nightmare she'd pretended wouldn't happen if she simply didn't think about it. Harper. Brent was still kneeling. His right knee began to tremble visibly. Are you okay? No, she wasn't okay. She was having an existential epiphany in front of strangers armed with cameras. I need a second, she murmured. Is it a yes or a no? Shouted a man in a Yankees hoodie. I've got money riding on this. Harper closed her eyes. She saw her life unfold. Wedding at the country club. 3 kids named Hunter, Skylar, and something ending in Den. Endless dinners with the Ashfords where she'd smile politely while Brent's father explained why Ayn Rand was right about everything. No, she said quietly. What? No, she repeated louder. The silence that followed was the kind of silence that precedes natural disasters. You're saying no? Brent looked genuinely confused, as if she just told him the earth was flat. I'm sorry, Brent. You're amazing, but I can't. She said no. The hoodie guy bellowed. Jimmy, you owe me $50. And then chaos erupted. Brent stood up so fast he knocked the ring box over, which rolled straight into the fountain drain. A woman screamed, Are you kidding me? A teenager posted on TikTok with the caption, Rejected at Rockefeller. The college girls stopped chanting and started whispering furiously. You're embarrassing me, Brent hissed, his face turning firetruck red. In front of all these. I got the ring, shouted a security guard, plunging his hand into the drain. No. Leave it there, Harper heard herself say, and immediately regretted it because now it seemed like she was being cruel on purpose. Brent stared at her with a mixture of shock and betrayal she'd feel for the rest of her life. Then, without saying a word, he turned and marched off down Fifth Avenue, leaving Harper alone in the center of the plaza. Alone, except for the 50 people still filming. Someone call TMZ, said a voice. Harper did the only sensible thing. She ran. 3 hours later, she was at Sloane's apartment in the West Village, burying her face in her 3rd glass of Pinot Grigio. I'm a horrible person, she moaned. You're not a horrible person. You're an honest person, Sloane said, passing her a pizza box. Brent will get over it. He's probably already on Tinder. His father owns half of Manhattan. He's going to destroy me. Richard Ashford doesn't care enough about you to destroy you. No offense. It was true and somehow worse. Harper's phone buzzed for the 17th time. Another text from an unknown number. This is the reason why men are afraid to get married. How do people already have my number? She whimpered. Welcome to the internet, honey. Sloane grabbed her phone and put it in airplane mode. Rule number 1. Don't read the comments. Rule number 2. Tomorrow morning we fix this. Fix it how? I don't know yet. But you're an award-winning publicist. If you can sell sunscreen to vampires, you can fix your own reputation. Harper doubted it. She'd spent the last 5 years building an impeccable career on Madison Avenue. Now she was the woman who publicly humiliated an Ashford. Her phone, still in airplane mode, lit up with a notification. Before Sloane could grab it, Harper saw the headline. Socialite rejects real estate mogul's proposal at Rockefeller Center. Video goes viral. Socialite, she said incredulously. My dad's a high school principal. They're confusing you with that other Caldwell who owns the hotel chain, Sloan diagnosed. This is actually… Wait, this might be good. How can this be good? Because now you're interesting. Mysterious. The woman who said no to an Ashford. I don't want to be interesting. I want to be forgotten. The intercom buzzed. They both froze. Are you expecting someone? Sloan whispered. At 11 at night. No. Sloan went to the intercom. Hello. Delivery service for Harper Caldwell. They looked at each other. I didn't order anything, Harper said. Sloan pressed the button. Leave it at the door. 5 minutes later, she returned, holding an enormous, expensive envelope. Creamy paper, gold wax seal. This looks like lawyer stuff, Sloan said grimly. Harper opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a single embossed card. Ms. Caldwell, I'd like to discuss a mutually beneficial business proposal. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., the Carlisle. Come alone. J.M. Harper turned the card over. Nothing. Who the heck is J.M.? Sloan took the envelope and examined the wax seal. Her eyes widened. Harp, she said slowly. This is the Montgomery family crest. And the Montgomerys literally have more money than the Ashfords. They're like old money times 1,000. We're talking Gilded Age fortunes. Why would the Montgomerys send me a letter? There's only one way to find out. Sloan smiled. You're going to this meeting? Are you crazy? What if it's a scam? What if it's Brent trying to sue me? Brent wouldn't use Montgomery letterhead. This is something else. Sloan refilled both wine glasses. And whatever it is, I bet it's more interesting than spending the weekend reading comments about how you're the worst person alive. Harper looked at the card. Gold letters gleamed in the light. She had two options. Hide in Sloan's apartment forever or find out what on earth a Montgomery wanted with her. She drank the wine in one gulp. What time do we need to leave tomorrow? The Carlisle Hotel looked exactly like the kind of place where rich people made decisions that ruined other people's lives. Harper stood outside the entrance at 9:58 a.m., wearing her most professional navy blazer and trying not to hyperventilate. Sloan had insisted on coming along and was now lurking across the street at a Starbucks phone, ready to call 911 if Harper didn't text within 30 minutes. You're meeting a Montgomery, Sloan had said while straightening Harper's collar that morning. They don't do anything small. Whatever this is, it's big. That's not helping. I'm just saying, keep your options open. Maybe they want to hire you. Maybe they're starting a PR firm and need someone with your skills. Or maybe they want to sue me for damaging the Ashford family reputation. The Montgomerys and Ashfords hate each other. Trust me, if anything, they probably high-fived when they saw that video. Now standing in front of the hotel's revolving doors, Harper wasn't so sure. She checked her phone. One new text from her mother. Your Aunt Linda saw the video. She wants to know if you're having a nervous breakdown. Are you having a nervous breakdown? Harper turned off her phone. Inside the lobby was all marble floors and understated elegance. A concierge approached immediately. Miss Caldwell. Yes. Mr. Montgomery is expecting you. Private dining room, second floor. Of course, it was a private dining room because regular public spaces were for regular public people. Harper followed the concierge up a sweeping staircase and down a hallway lined with oil paintings of people who looked judgmental even in death. They stopped at a mahogany door. Knock twice, the concierge said, and disappeared. Harper knocked. Come in. She opened the door and stepped into a disaster. The private dining room looked like a hurricane had hit it. Papers covered every surface. A laptop balanced precariously on a stack of folders. Coffee cups formed a small city on the sideboard. And in the middle of it all, standing with his back to her while scowling at his phone, was the most attractive man Harper had ever seen in person. Tall, dark hair that looked like he'd been running his hands through it for hours. Sharp jawline. A suit that probably cost more than her rent. And when he turned around, eyes so intensely blue she forgot how to breathe for a second. Harper Caldwell, he said. Not a question, a statement. That's me. And you're J.M. Jackson Montgomery. He didn't offer to shake hands. Sit. Wow. Charming. Harper heard herself say. Do you practice being rude or does it come naturally? His eyebrow quirked up. I'm direct. There's a difference. Sure there is. They stared at each other. Harper refused to look away first. After 5 seconds, something that might have been amusement flickered across his face. You're not what I expected, he said. You sent me a mysterious letter at 11 at night. I didn't know what to expect at all. Jackson gestured to a chair. Harper sat, mostly because her legs were still processing the fact that this man looked like he'd walked off a cologne commercial. He sat across from her, folding his hands on the table. I'll get straight to it. I need a fiancé. Harper blinked. Excuse me? A fake fiancé. Temporary, 3 months maximum. Are you kidding me right now? I don't kid about business. This is insane. This is practical. Jackson leaned back. My grandmother controls the family trust. She's 87, traditional as they come, and convinced I'm too irresponsible to run the company because I'm not settled down. Her words, not mine. So, get a real girlfriend. I don't have time for dating. I work 90 hours a week. Then maybe your grandmother has a point. His jaw tightened. I saw your video. Harper's stomach dropped. Of course you did. Everyone did. You rejected a very public proposal from Brent Ashford, which takes either incredible courage or incredible stupidity. Thanks. I feel so much better now. The point is, Jackson continued, ignoring her sarcasm, you're currently the most talked about woman in New York, and I need someone who can handle media attention, social pressure, and corporate events without falling apart. You need a trained SEAL. I need a partner who understands how these circles work. He pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. This is the contract. 3 months, as my fiancé. Public appearances only. No actual relationship required. In exchange, I'll pay you $500,000 and personally handle all the fallout from your rejected proposal. Harper stared at him. $500,000? Are you out of your mind? That's the starting offer. I can go higher if needed. I don't want your money. Everyone wants money. Not everyone is a cynical robot. I prefer realistic. Jackson's expression didn't change. Look, you need help. The internet is eating you alive. Ashford's PR team is spinning this as you being a gold digger who got cold feet. Your reputation is damaged. I can fix that. How? By making you a Montgomery fiancé. Suddenly, you're not the woman who rejected an Ashford. You're the woman who had better options. The narrative shifts completely. Harper hated that it made sense. She hated that he was right. She hated his stupid, perfect face. Why me? She asked. If you just need someone for show, you could hire an actress. Someone trained for this. Because actresses want more than 3 months. They want exposure, career advancement, Instagram followers. You want to disappear. That makes you perfect. You really thought this through. I'm thorough. Harper opened the folder. The contract was 20 pages long and used words like aforementioned and hereto for disturbing frequency. This is ridiculous, she muttered, flipping pages. Read section 7. She found it. The termination clause. Either party can end the arrangement at any time, no questions asked. You're not trapped. How generous. I'm not a monster, Miss Caldwell. I'm just a man trying to save his family legacy from his grandmother's outdated ideas about marriage. Harper looked up. For the first time, she saw something human in his expression. Frustration, maybe even desperation. What happens in 3 months? She asked. We stage a very amicable mutual breakup. We realized we wanted different things. The usual script. You walk away with enough money to start over anywhere you want. I get control of the company. Everyone wins. Except your grandmother, who will still think you're irresponsible. She'll have already signed over control by then. Board vote happens in April. Harper closed the folder. Her mind raced. This was crazy. Absolutely insane. Fake engagements were the plot of rom-coms. Not real life. But then again, real life had already become a rom-com disaster the moment she rejected Brent at Rockefeller Center. I need to think about it, she said. You have 24 hours. Jackson stood. After that, I find someone else. You're giving me an ultimatum? I'm giving you a timeline. There's a difference. Harper stood too, annoyed that he was at least 6 inches taller than her. You know what your problem is, Montgomery. I'm sure you're about to tell me. You think you can solve everything with money and contracts. But people aren't business deals. You'd be surprised how often they are. They were standing close now, close enough that Harper could smell his cologne, something expensive and woodsy that made her irrationally angry because of course he even smelled perfect. "I'll give you my answer tomorrow," she said. "Same time, same place. I'll be here." He walked to the door and opened it. "For what it's worth, Miss Caldwell, I think you did the right thing." "What? Rejecting Ashford?" "He's an idiot." And before Harper could respond, Jackson Montgomery walked out, leaving her alone in a room full of papers and half-drunk coffee cups and the strangest marriage proposal she'd ever received. 20 minutes later, Harper burst into the Starbucks where Sloane was waiting. So Sloane demanded, "What happened? Are you being sued?" "Worse, I think I just got engaged." "What?" Harper collapsed into a chair and told her everything. By the end, Sloane's jaw was on the floor. $500,000. Sloane whispered, "Harper, that's life-changing money. It's fake engagement money. It's $500,000 for lying to everyone I know. For playing pretend for 3 months." Sloane leaned forward. "Look, I know this sounds insane, but think about it. You're already the most hated woman on the internet. Your career is in the toilet. Your apartment is a studio with a bathroom the size of a shoebox. This could be your way out. By pretending to be in love with a man who called me a business deal by being smart." Sloane grabbed Harper's hands. "You're a publicist. You spin stories for a living. This is just another campaign, and at the end, you walk away with enough money to never worry again." Harper wanted to argue. She wanted to say it was wrong, immoral, completely ridiculous. But then her phone buzzed with another text from an unknown number. "Hope you die alone, lol." She looked at the headline on Sloane's laptop screen. "Runaway bride inside Harper Caldwell's pattern of commitment issues." "Pattern?" Harper said incredulously. "I've dated 3 guys in my entire life." "See," Sloane said gently. "They're making up whatever they want. You might as well get paid while the world tears you apart." Harper thought about Jackson Montgomery, his cold blue eyes, his calculated offer, his complete lack of anything resembling warmth or human emotion. Then she thought about her bank account, her studio apartment, the way her mother had sounded on the phone that morning, disappointed but not surprised. "I have 24 hours to decide," she said. "Then let's make a pros and cons list." "Sloane, I'm serious. We're going to approach this rationally." Harper laughed despite everything. "Rationally, right? Because there's something rational about fake marrying a man I met 30 minutes ago, fake engaged. You're not actually marrying him. That makes it so much better." But even as she said it, Harper pulled out her phone and opened a new note. Pros: $500,000. Fixes public reputation. Temporary 3 months max. Can quit any time. Cons: completely insane. Lying to everyone. Jackson Montgomery is insufferable. What could possibly go wrong? She stared at the list. Then she remembered the way Jackson had looked when he said, "You did the right thing." For just a second, his armor had cracked. "I'm going to regret this," Harper muttered. "Probably," Sloane agreed cheerfully. "But at least you'll be rich while you do." Harper walked into the Carlyle exactly 24 hours later, wearing her "I'm about to make a terrible decision" outfit. A black dress that said professional, but the red heels that said she was already halfway to chaos. Jackson was waiting in the same dining room, though someone had clearly forced him to clean up. The papers were gone. The coffee cups had been removed. He stood by the window in another perfect suit, looking like he'd never experienced a moment of doubt in his entire life. "Ms. Caldwell," he said without turning around. "Punctual. I appreciate that. How did you know it was me?" "Your perfume, jasmine, and something citrus." Harper's heart did an annoying little flip. "You notice my perfume? I notice everything." He turned. "So, what's your answer?" Harper pulled the signed contract from her purse and dropped it on the table. "I must be out of my mind." Something that might have been relief crossed Jackson's face. "Smart decision. I haven't decided if you're the devil or my only option. I can be both." He picked up the contract, scanning it quickly. "Good. My lawyer will process this today. We start immediately." "Immediately?" "I haven't even. First public appearance is tonight. The Vanderbilt Charity Gala. 700 p.m. I'll send a car for you at 6. Tonight, Jackson, I just agreed to this 5 seconds ago. The timeline doesn't change because you're nervous. He pulled out his phone and started typing. Dress code is black tie. Do you have something appropriate? Harper thought about her closet. Define appropriate. He looked up. You're a publicist in Manhattan. You must have gala dresses. I have a gala dress singular from 2019. It has a stain. Jackson's jaw tightened. I'll send a stylist to your apartment at 3. She'll bring options. You have a stylist on speed dial? I have everything on speed dial. He pocketed his phone. We need to establish ground rules. Oh, now we have rules. I thought you just threw money at problems until they went away. Rule 1, he continued, ignoring her. In public, we're convincingly engaged. That means hand-holding, occasional touches, believable affection. Harper's stomach flipped again. Believable affection, right? Totally something you're capable of. Rule 2. No one outside of your immediate circle knows this is fake. Not friends, not coworkers, not family. I have to lie to my mother. Unless you want this to blow up in both our faces. Yes, this is already blowing up. Rule 3. Jackson stepped closer and Harper caught that woodsy cologne again. Whatever happens in private stays private. We're professionals. This is a job. A job where I pretend to be in love with you. Exactly. Has anyone ever told you that you have the emotional range of a spreadsheet? Frequently? He almost smiled. Almost. Do you have any rules? Harper hadn't thought about it, but now standing close enough to see the tiny scar above his left eyebrow, she realized she needed boundaries before this whole thing exploded. Rule 1, she said. No kissing. His eyebrow rose. We're engaged. Fake, engaged. We can sell it without locking lips. People will notice. Then we'll be the couple that's waiting until marriage. Very traditional. My grandmother will love that. Jackson admitted. Fine. No kissing. Rule 2. I keep my job. I'm not quitting my career to play house with you. Agreed. Though you may need to adjust your schedule for events. Rule 3. Harper paused. This one was important. When this is over, we both walk away clean. No drama, no revenge, no trying to ruin each other. Jackson extended his hand. Deal. Harper shook it. His hand was warm, firm, and sent an entirely inappropriate tingle up her arm. So, she said, pulling back, how exactly do we convince everyone we fell madly in love in 24 hours? We don't. We say we've been secretly dating for 3 months. 3 months, Jackson. People saw me with Brent 2 weeks ago, which is why you rejected him because you were already in love with someone else. Jackson pulled up something on his phone. My PR team prepared a statement. It goes live in an hour. He showed her the screen. Jackson Montgomery and Harper Caldwell are thrilled to announce their engagement. The couple has been privately dating for the past 3 months and looks forward to building their future together. They ask for privacy during this special time. This is insane, Harper muttered. This is strategy. Jackson pocketed his phone. The narrative writes itself. You and Ashford weren't working. You met me at a charity event in September. We clicked. You tried to make it work with him, but couldn't ignore your feelings. When he proposed, you finally had to be honest. Wow. You've really thought about every detail. Like I said, I'm thorough. Harper's phone exploded with notifications. She looked down and saw the statement had just gone live. No turning back now, Jackson said. At 6:47 p.m., Harper stood in her apartment wearing a dress that cost more than her car. The stylist, a terrifyingly efficient woman named Petra, had brought 12 options and immediately rejected 11 of them. Too young, too boring, too trying, too hard. The winner was a deep emerald silk gown that fit like it had been painted on. You look like money, Petra had declared. Montgomery money. Perfect. Now, staring at herself in the mirror, Harper barely recognized the woman looking back, hair swept up, makeup dramatic but elegant, diamonds at her ears, borrowed because apparently Jackson had those on speed dial too. Sloane stood behind her, hands over her mouth. Holy wow, Sloane whispered. You look like you belong in a museum. I feel like a fraud. You look like a Montgomery fiancé. Sloane squeezed her shoulders. You can do this. Just smile, hold his hand, and remember you're getting paid $500,000. The intercom buzzed. The car was here. Harper grabbed her clutch, also borrowed, and headed for the door. Wait. Sloane grabbed her arm. You forgot this. She held out a ring box. Harper's heart stopped. Is that Jackson's assistant dropped it off an hour ago? She said it's a family heirloom. Harper opened the box and immediately understood why the Montgomerys had money. The ring was stunning, a vintage emerald-cut diamond surrounded by smaller stones set in platinum. It was the kind of ring that appeared in museums and insurance commercials. I can't wear this, Harper breathed. You have to wear this. You're his fiancé. His fake fiancé. Fake fiancé, wearing a very real 5-carat diamond. Sloane plucked the ring from the box and slid it onto Harper's finger. It fit perfectly. Go. Your Prince Charming is waiting. He's not charming. Your Prince Calculating is waiting. Harper laughed despite her nerves and headed downstairs. The car was a black Mercedes that probably cost more than her apartment building. The driver opened the door and Harper slid inside. Jackson was already there, looking unfairly good in a tuxedo. You're late, he said. I'm 3 minutes late. Still late? Then he actually looked at her and something flickered across his face. You look appropriate. Wow. Be still, my heart. I meant, he cleared his throat. You look good. Fine. Great. The dress is good? Harper bit back a smile. Was Jackson Montgomery actually flustered? You clean up okay yourself, she said. They rode in silence for exactly 45 seconds before Jackson said, We need to sync our story. Our fake love story. We met at the Children's Hospital benefit in September. You were there with your firm. I was there representing Montgomery Foundation. We talked by the bar for 2 hours. What did we talk about? You told me about your work. I told you about the pressure of running the family business. We bonded over having difficult families. Do you actually have a difficult family? My grandmother thinks I'm a disappointment, and my father died trying to prove he wasn't. Jackson's voice was flat. Difficult enough. Harper softened. I'm sorry. Don't be. It was 10 years ago. He pulled out his phone again. I had my team compile a dossier on you. Favorite food, college major, childhood pets. We need to know each other. You have a dossier on me? I have a dossier on everyone. That's not weird at all. Jackson scrolled. You're allergic to shellfish. You studied communications at Northwestern. Your cat's name was Mr. Whiskers. You really researched my childhood cat? People ask detail questions. We need answers. He looked up. What do I need to know about you that's not in the file? Harper thought about it. I hate surprise parties. I stress bake when I'm anxious. And I have a terrible poker face, so if anyone asks me a direct question about our fake relationship, I will probably panic. Noted. Don't let anyone corner you. He pocketed his phone. And for the record, I also stress bake. You bake croissants from scratch. Harper stared at him. You're telling me you make croissants? It's meditative and delicious. Was that almost a smile? See, now you know something about me, too. The car pulled up to the Plaza Hotel where the gala was being held. Through the window, Harper could see camera flashes and a red carpet. There are photographers, she said, panic rising. Of course there are. It's a charity gala. Jackson, I can't. He took her hand. His was steady and warm. Yes, you can. You stood in Rockefeller Center and rejected in Ashford in front of 50 people. You can handle a few photographers. That was honesty. This is lying. This is survival. He squeezed her hand gently. You ready? Harper looked at their joined hands, at the ring sparkling on her finger, at the man she'd agreed to fake love for 3 months. No, she said honestly. Perfect. Let's go. The door opened. Camera flashes exploded like fireworks. Jackson stepped out first, then turned and offered his hand with a smile that looked almost genuine. Harper took it and emerged into chaos. Harper. Jackson. Over here. Is it true you've been dating secretly? How did Brent take the news? Let us see the ring. Jackson's arm slid around her waist, solid and grounding. He leaned close, his breath warm against her ear. Smile like you're in love. We're selling a fairy tale. Harper looked up at him. This stranger she was, fake engaged to, and smiled. The cameras went absolutely crazy, and somewhere in the back of her mind, a small voice whispered, "What have you gotten yourself into?" Inside the ballroom, Harper quickly learned that being a Montgomery fiancé was harder than any job she'd ever had. "Harper, darling," a woman in diamonds grabbed her arm. "Tell me everything. How did Jackson propose?" "It was private," Jackson answered smoothly, his hand on Harper's lower back. "Intimate. Just the two of us. How romantic. And the ring. It's Vivian's ring, isn't it?" "My grandmother insisted," Jackson said. Harper had no idea who Vivian was, but smiled anyway. They made it exactly 8 feet before another ambush. Jackson Montgomery, settling down at last. A silver-haired man clapped Jackson on the shoulder. "Your grandmother must be thrilled." "Over the moon," Jackson agreed. "And you, my dear." The man turned to Harper. "How did you manage to tame Manhattan's most eligible bachelor?" "I didn't tame him," Harper said. "I just understood him." She felt Jackson's hand tighten slightly on her waist. Approval. Surprise. They danced through conversation after conversation. Harper's face hurt from smiling. Her feet hurt from the heels. Her brain hurt from keeping track of all the lies. "You're doing well," Jackson murmured as they finally escaped to grab champagne. "I'm dying." "You're selling it perfectly." He handed her a glass. "Grandmother's at 3. Steel yourself." Harper turned and saw a tiny, elegant woman approaching. She wore pearls and an expression that could freeze lava. "Jackson," she said crisply. "Introduce me. Grandmother, this is Harper Caldwell." "Harper, my grandmother. Vivian Montgomery." "So, that's Vivian." "Ms. Caldwell." Vivian's eyes ran over Harper like a scanner. "I understand you're wearing my ring." "Yes, ma'am." "It's beautiful. It belonged to my mother. Jackson's grandfather gave it to me on our wedding day." Vivian's gaze was ice. "I hope you understand the weight of what you're wearing." Harper's throat went dry. "I do." "Do you?" Vivian stepped closer. "Because you rejected one proposal quite publicly just days ago. Forgive me for wondering if you truly understand commitment." The ballroom seemed to go quiet. Harper felt every eye turned toward them. This was it. The moment where the whole house of cards collapsed, but then Jackson's arm came around her waist again, protective and sure. "Grandmother," he said, his voice steel wrapped in silk. "Harper rejected Ashford because she was already in love with me. That's not fear of commitment. That's the opposite." Vivian's eyes narrowed. "Is that so?" "Yes," Harper heard herself say. "I know how it looked, but I couldn't marry someone when my heart belonged to someone else." She looked up at Jackson as she said it. His blue eyes met hers, intense and unreadable. For just a second, it felt real. Vivian studied them both. "We'll see. Come to dinner next week, both of you. I'd like to get to know the woman my grandson chose." "It wasn't a request." "We'd love to," Jackson said. Vivian swept away, leaving Harper shaking. "That was terrifying," Harper whispered. "That was her being nice." Jackson's thumb traced small circles on her waist, probably unconsciously. "You handled her perfectly." "I lied to a sweet old lady." "That sweet old lady once made a grown man cry during a business negotiation." Harper laughed despite herself. "What have we gotten ourselves into?" "Something complicated." Jackson looked down at her, and for once his expression was almost soft. "But you're good at this. Better than I expected." "Is that a compliment?" "It's an observation. You really don't know how to talk to people, do you?" "Not really," he paused. "But you do. That's why this might actually work." The orchestra started playing. Couples moved toward the dance floor. "We should dance," Jackson said. "People are watching." "I'm not a great dancer." "Neither am I." "We'll suffer together." He led her onto the floor. His hand settled at her waist, hers on his shoulder. They began to sway. "This isn't so bad," Harper admitted. "You're standing on my foot." "Oh, sorry. It's fine. I have another one." Was that a joke? Did Jackson Montgomery just make a joke? They danced in silence for a moment. Harper was hyper-aware of everywhere they were touching, his hand warm and solid, the way he smelled, the way other couples watched them with envy. "Everyone thinks we're in love," she murmured. "That's the point. But we're not. We barely know each other. I know you stress bake and have a terrible poker face. And I know you make croissants and have the emotional range of a calculator. See, we're practically married already." Harper laughed. A real, genuine laugh. Jackson smiled. Actually smiled. It transformed his whole face. "There," he said softly. "That's the laugh we need. Real and infectious. People will believe it, right?" The laugh was just part of the act. Harper's smile dimmed slightly. The song ended. Jackson stepped back, the moment broken. "We should make the rounds again," he said, all business once more. "3 more key couples, then we can leave." Aye, Captain." They worked the room for another hour. By the time they finally escaped to the car, Harper's face was stuck in a permanent smile, and her feet had staged a full rebellion. She collapsed into the Mercedes with a groan. "You survived," Jackson said, sliding in beside her. "Barely." Harper kicked off her heels. "How do you people do this every weekend?" "Practice and alcohol. Mostly alcohol." The car pulled away from the plaza. Harper watched the city lights blur past the window. Jackson. Your grandmother doesn't believe us." "I know. She's going to investigate, try to prove we're faking." "Probably." He loosened his bow tie. "Which means we need to be even more convincing." Harper looked at him. This stranger she was contractually obligated to pretend to love. He was staring out his own window, exhausted and somehow more human than she'd seen him yet. "What are we doing?" she whispered. "Surviving." He turned to face her. "Both of us in our own ways." The car pulled up to Harper's building. "Same time tomorrow," Jackson said. "Brunch with my mother." "Your mother, Jackson." "Non-negotiable. She's flying in from Paris specifically to meet you." "You could have mentioned that." "I'm mentioning it now." He opened the car door. "Wear something maternal approval appropriate." "I hate you." "No. You don't. You just hate that I'm right." He almost smiled. "Good night, fiancé." Harper stumbled into her building, clutch in one hand, heels in the other, a 5-carat diamond on her finger. Sloane was waiting in her apartment. Laptop open. "You're trending," she said without preamble. "What?" Sloane turned the screen around. Twitter was exploding. Harper and Jackson. Did anyone else see them dancing? The chemistry plot twist of the century. She went from Ashford to Montgomery. "I shipped them so hard it hurts." Harper sank onto the couch. "This is really happening. This is really happening." Sloane grinned. "Also, multiple people commented on how Jackson looks at you, and I quote, like she's the only person in the room." I bulled. He was acting. He's a really good actor. Then Harper touched the ring on her finger. It felt heavy, significant, temporary. She reminded herself. 3 months. But as she got ready for bed that night, she couldn't stop thinking about the way Jackson had smiled when she laughed, the way his hand felt at her waist, the way just for a second it had felt real. This was just a job. A very well-paid, incredibly complicated, absolutely insane job. Nothing could go wrong. Right. Harper woke up to 17 missed calls from her mother. This was fine. Everything was fine. She just had to tell her mom she was engaged to a man she'd been secretly dating for 3 months and somehow make it believable before noon. No problem. She called back while making coffee. "Harper Elizabeth Caldwell." Her mother answered on the first ring. "You're engaged to a Montgomery, and I had to find out from your Aunt Linda, who saw it on Facebook." "Mom, I can explain. You haven't brought a man home in 2 years. You rejected poor Brent just days ago. And now you're wearing a ring that probably costs more than our house. It's complicated." "Complicated?" "Harper. The man's family owns half of Connecticut." "I know. When do we meet him?" Harper's coffee mug paused halfway to her mouth. "Meet him. Of course, meet him. He's going to be my son-in-law, right?" "Yes. Soon. Very soon. This weekend. Bring him for dinner." "Mom, he's very busy." "Harper. This weekend." It wasn't a request. Harper hung up and immediately texted Jackson. "My mother wants to meet you this weekend." His response came 30 seconds later. "Tell her we're busy." "I can't tell my mother we're too busy. She'll drive to Manhattan and drag you to Connecticut herself." "Fine. Saturday, but you're coming to brunch with my mother first today. 11 a.m. car arrives at 10:30. Harper looked at the clock. It was 9:47. She had 43 minutes to become someone who could casually brunch with Jackson Montgomery's mother. The brunch was at Le Bernardin because apparently Montgomery's didn't do casual diners. Harper arrived wearing a cream dress that Petra had declared understated elegance and feeling like an imposter. Jackson was already there, looking annoyingly put together in a navy suit. "You're late," he said. "I'm 2 minutes late." "Still late." He stood and kissed her cheek. His lips barely brushed her skin, but Harper felt it everywhere. "My mother notices everything, including time." "Great. Terrifying. Love that for me. Just be yourself. She'll either love you or tolerate you for my sake." Again. So comforting. A woman glided toward them like she was floating on air. Petite, elegant, with Jackson's blue eyes and cheekbones that could cut glass. She wore Chanel and an expression that said she'd seen everything and judged most of it. "Jackson, darling." She kissed both his cheeks. "And this must be Harper. Mrs. Montgomery, it's wonderful to meet you. Please call me Celeste." She studied Harper with the intensity of a jeweler examining a diamond. "Interesting. Interesting," Harper repeated. "You're not what I expected." Celeste sat, arranging herself like a photograph. "Jackson usually dates women who match his wallpaper." "Mom," Jackson said warningly. "I mean it as a compliment. Harper has personality. I can see it in her eyes." Harper wasn't sure if that was good or bad. They ordered. Celeste asked questions, pointed specific questions about Harper's job, her family, her education. It felt less like conversation and more like a deposition. "So, you're a publicist," Celeste said, sipping her mimosa. "How convenient." Harper's spine stiffened. "Convenient? You understand optics, perception, the art of selling a story." The implication hung in the air like smoke. "Mother." Jackson's voice was ice. "What exactly are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting nothing. I'm observing." Celeste's smile was sharp. "Your engagement was very sudden and very well timed given Vivian's ultimatum about the company." "We're in love," Jackson said flatly. "Are you?" Celeste looked between them. "Then prove it." "Excuse me." "Kiss her." Harper choked on her water. "What?" "If you're so madly in love, kiss your fiancé." Celeste leaned back. "Right now in public like you mean it." "Mom, we're in a restaurant, and engaged couples kiss in restaurants all the time. Unless?" Celeste raised an eyebrow. "There's a reason you won't." Harper's heart hammered. They'd specifically agreed. No kissing. Rule number 1. But Celeste was watching like a hawk. And 2 tables over, someone had their phone out, clearly recording. Jackson met Harper's eyes. She saw the calculation there, the decision being made. "Fine," he said quietly. He cupped Harper's face with both hands, tilted her chin up, and kissed her. It was supposed to be for show, a performance. Fake affection for a fake engagement. But the moment his lips touched hers, Harper forgot how to breathe. The kiss was soft at first, gentle. Then Jackson's hand slid into her hair, and Harper's hand somehow found his chest. And suddenly, it wasn't soft at all. It was demanding and desperate, and absolutely nothing like a performance. She forgot they were in a restaurant. Forgot Celeste was watching. Forgot everything except the way Jackson tasted like coffee and mint, and something she couldn't name but wanted more of. When they finally broke apart, Harper's entire body was on fire. Jackson's pupils were dilated, his breathing uneven. He looked as shaken as she felt. "Well," Celeste said, sounding genuinely surprised, "perhaps I was wrong." Harper couldn't speak, couldn't think, could only stare at Jackson, who was very carefully not looking at her. "I should go," Harper managed. "I have a thing, work thing." "Of course." Celeste smiled knowingly. "It was lovely meeting you, Harper. I'm sure we'll see each other again soon." Harper grabbed her purse and fled. She made it exactly 2 blocks before Jackson caught up with her. "Harper, wait." That shouldn't have happened. She whirled around. "We had rules. No kissing was rule number 1. My mother was testing us. If we'd refused, she would have known something was wrong." "So we?" Harper couldn't finish the sentence because her brain was still replaying the kiss on an endless loop. "It was necessary," Jackson said, but his voice was rough for the act. That didn't feel like an act. The words hung between them. Jackson's jaw tightened. It had to be. "This is a business arrangement, Harper. Nothing more." "Right. Business." Harper's chest hurt. I need to go. Harper, I'll see you Saturday for dinner with my parents. We can pretend to be in love then, too. She turned and walked away before he could see the tears threatening to spill. That night, Sloane found Harper stress baking at midnight. The kitchen looked like a flower bomb had exploded. Harper was on her third batch of chocolate chip cookies, tears streaming down her face while she aggressively mixed dough. "Okay," Sloane said carefully. "What happened?" "We kissed you." "What?" "His mother made us." And it was Sloane. It was. Harper's voice cracked. It felt real. Maybe because it was real. It can't be real. This is a fake engagement. He's paying me. This is a job. Jobs don't usually involve kissing like that. I saw the video. Harper's head snapped up. Video? Sloane held up her phone. The kiss was everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Someone had even made a slow-motion edit with romantic music. Jackson Montgomery kisses fiancée at Le Bernardin. Chemistry is insane. I need someone to look at me the way he looks at her. This is what true love looks like. Harper sank onto the floor. This is a disaster. This is a disaster you're being paid $500,000 to experience. I think I'm developing feelings for him. Sloane sat down beside her. Would that be so terrible? Yes. He doesn't feel the same. This is all fake for him. He literally called it a business arrangement. Did he kiss you like it was a business arrangement? Harper thought about Jackson's hand in her hair. The way he pulled her closer, the way he'd looked at her afterward, shocked and vulnerable and scared. I don't know, she whispered. Her phone buzzed. Jackson, we need to talk. Don't respond, Sloane advised. Harper's thumbs moved. Anyway, about what? Tomorrow. My apartment. 9 a.m. Jackson, we said everything we needed to say. No, we didn't. 9 a.m. Please. The please broke her. Fine. Harper turned off her phone and went back to her cookies. If she was falling for Jackson Montgomery, the man who thought of her as a business deal, the man who calculated everything, the man who kissed her like she was oxygen, then she was going to need a lot more chocolate. Jackson's apartment was not an apartment. It was a penthouse that belonged in architectural magazines. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Central Park. Modern furniture that probably cost more than Harper's car. Art on the walls that looked suspiciously like original Rothkos. And in the kitchen, Jackson Montgomery in jeans and a t-shirt, pulling fresh croissants out of the oven. Harper stopped in her tracks. You weren't kidding about the baking. I told you I stress bake. He set the tray down. Coffee, please. They moved around each other carefully like dancers, avoiding collision. Jackson poured coffee. Harper perched on a bar stool. The silence was loaded with everything they weren't saying. About yesterday, Jackson finally said. It's fine. We were selling the act. Your mother bought it. Mission accomplished. Harper, we don't need to make this weird. It was a kiss for show. It's done. It wasn't just for show. Harper's heart stopped. What? Jackson set down his mug. When I kissed you, I forgot why I was doing it. For a minute, maybe 2 minutes, I forgot the whole thing was fake. Jackson, let me finish. He ran a hand through his hair, making it stick up. I don't do feelings. I do spreadsheets and contracts and calculated risks. Feelings are messy and unpredictable and human dangerous, he corrected. But when I'm with you, I forget to be careful. Harper's chest tightened. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm saying this arrangement is getting complicated, and I don't know if that's good or catastrophic. Both? Probably. Harper's voice was barely a whisper. Because I forgot, too. When you kissed me, I forgot we were pretending. They stared at each other across the kitchen island. The air crackled with tension. So, what do we do? Jackson asked. I have no idea. We can't actually fall for each other. No, that would be ridiculous. Completely unreasonable. A total disaster. So, we agree, Jackson said. Whatever this is, we ignore it. Absolutely ignore it completely. Neither of them moved. Harper. Yeah. I think I'm failing at ignoring it. Me too. Jackson came around the island. Harper stood. They were inches apart now, close enough that Harper could see the flecks of gray in his blue eyes. This is a terrible idea, Jackson murmured. The worst, Harper agreed. He kissed her anyway. This time there was no audience, no mother testing them, no cameras, just the two of them and the truth neither wanted to admit. This kiss was slow and deep and devastating. Jackson's hands framed her face like she was something precious. Harper's fingers curled into his shirt, pulling him closer. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jackson pressed his forehead to hers. "We're in trouble," he whispered. So much trouble. 2 hours later, Harper left Jackson's apartment with kiss-swollen lips, a bag of fresh croissants, and the terrifying realization that she was falling for the man she was fake engaged to. Sloane took one look at her and said, "You slept with him." "What? No, but you wanted to." Harper collapsed on the couch. "I'm ruining everything, or making it interesting." "Sloane, this is supposed to be fake, clean, professional. Now I can't stop thinking about the way he—" She stopped. "I'm in so much trouble. Does he feel the same way?" Harper thought about the way Jackson had looked at her, the way he'd admitted he was failing at ignoring whatever this was between them. "I think so. Maybe. I don't know." "Then you have 2 months to figure it out." 2 months. Harper had 2 months to navigate fake engagement with real feelings, meet both their families, convince Jackson's grandmother they were legitimate, and somehow not get her heart completely destroyed in the process. Her phone buzzed. "Brent Ashford. We need to talk about you and Montgomery. Meet me tomorrow. I know something you don't." Harper's blood ran cold. "Sloane. Yeah. I think our problems just got bigger." Harper met Brent at a coffee shop in Tribeca, far enough from her apartment that no one she knew would see them. He looked different, angrier. His usual polished appearance had an edge to it. Wrinkled shirt, dark circles under his eyes, 3 days of stubble. "You look terrible," Harper said, sitting down. "Thanks. You look annoyingly happy." Brent's eyes went to the ring on her finger. Montgomery moved fast. "What do you want, Brent?" "The truth." He leaned forward. "You rejected me on a Wednesday. By Friday, you're engaged to Jackson Montgomery. You expect me to believe you fell in love in 48 hours? Harper's throat went dry. "We'd been seeing each other." Don't insult my intelligence with that secret relationship story." Brent pulled out his phone. "I hired a private investigator." "You did what?" "And guess what he found? No restaurant reservations, no hotel check-ins, no credit card trails, nothing connecting you and Montgomery before last week." Brent's smile was vicious. "Want to know what I think?" "Not particularly. I think Montgomery needed a fake fiancé to secure his inheritance. I think you needed an escape from the publicity nightmare you created. And I think you both decided to use each other." Harper's heart hammered. "Stay calm. Deny everything. That's insane. Is it because my investigator also found this?" Brent slid a photo across the table. It showed Jackson entering a law office. Whitfield and Associates, specialists in contract law. The timestamp read 2 days before he'd sent Harper the letter. So, he visited a lawyer. People do that. People getting legitimately engaged don't need contract lawyers. Brent leaned back triumphant. "I don't know what you two are playing at, but I know it's fake, and I'm going to prove it." "Why?" Harper's voice cracked. "Why do you care?" "You don't love me, Brent. You barely know me. I was just a checkbox on your life plan." Something flickered in his expression. Hurt, maybe, or just wounded pride. "You humiliated me," he said quietly. "In front of everyone. My father won't stop bringing it up. My friends are making jokes and now you're parading around with a Montgomery like I never mattered. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did. So now I'm going to return the favor." Brent stood. "Enjoy your fake engagement while it lasts, Harper, because I'm going to expose you both." He left before Harper could respond. She sat there frozen as her coffee went cold. "We have a problem," Harper said the moment Jackson answered his phone. 10 minutes later, she was back in his penthouse, pacing while Jackson read through the photos Brent had sent her. "Contract lawyers," Jackson muttered. Of course, he'd focus on that. He knows Jackson. Or at least he suspects enough to keep digging. Suspecting isn't proving. Jackson set down his phone. Brent's angry and lashing out. He has circumstantial evidence, not facts. He hired a private investigator, who found what? That I visited a lawyer. That we don't have restaurant receipts. Jackson crossed his arms. We said we kept it private. Low-key. That's not suspicious. It's Romantic. You're not hearing me. He's going to keep investigating and eventually he'll get bored or find another target. Jackson's voice was calm, rational, infuriating. We just need to be more careful. More careful, Jackson. We kissed in public twice. There's a video with 4 million views. Exactly. We sold it. We're committed to the performance. This isn't a performance anymore. The words burst out before Harper could stop them. At least not for me. Silence crashed between them. Jackson's expression shuddered. Harper, forget it. She grabbed her bag. You're right. Business arrangement. I'll be more professional. That's not what He caught her arm. Wait, why? So you can remind me again that this is all fake. That you're just playing a part because I don't know what this is anymore either. Jackson's carefully maintained composure cracked. You think this is easy for me? You think I plan to actually care about you? Harper's breath caught. You care about me? Of course I care about you. You're funny and brilliant, and you stress bake at midnight, and you look at me like I'm a person instead of a portfolio. Jackson was still holding her arm, his grip gentle but desperate. But I don't know how to do this. Real feelings, real relationships. I don't know how to separate what's fake and what's real. Harper finished softly. They stood inches apart, the penthouse silent except for their breathing. What are we doing? Jackson whispered. Something stupid. Something dangerous. Both. Harper looked up at him. But I don't want to stop. Jackson's thumb traced circles on her wrist. Me neither. Which is possibly the most irrational decision I've ever made. Welcome to being human. It's terrible. He almost smiled. What do we do about Brent? I don't know, but we need to be convincing. Really convincing. No more slip-ups. Agreed. Jackson's eyes dropped to her lips. Though, I should mention kissing you probably counts as a slip-up at this point. Probably. We should stop. We should. Neither moved. Harper. Yeah, I'm going to kiss you again. Not for show. Not for cameras. Just because I want to. Harper's heart raced. That's definitely a slip-up. I know. He kissed her anyway. Slow and deep and absolutely nothing like pretending. When they finally broke apart, Harper was breathless and completely lost. We're so stupid, she murmured against his lips. Incredibly stupid, Jackson agreed, kissing her again. Saturday arrived faster than Harper wanted. She stood outside her childhood home in Fairfield, Connecticut, with Jackson beside her in his Audi, and seriously considered running back to Manhattan. It's just dinner, Jackson said. With my parents who think we're in love, who I've never lied to before in my life. You lied about breaking Mom's vase when you were 12. Harper stared at him. How do you know that? It was in the dossier. You have a disturbingly thorough dossier. I'm thorough. We've established this. Jackson got out of the car. Come on, let's meet the parents. Harper's mother opened the door before they even knocked. Harper. She pulled Harper into a hug that lasted approximately 15 seconds longer than necessary. And you must be Jackson. Mrs. Caldwell. It's wonderful to meet you. Jackson shook her hand with perfect politeness. Oh, call me Diane. Come in. Come in, Robert. They're here. Harper's father appeared from the kitchen wearing an apron that said Grill Sergeant and holding a spatula like a weapon. So, you're the Montgomery. Robert Caldwell gave Jackson the once-over. Heard a lot about your family. All true, I'm sure, Jackson said smoothly. They sat down to dinner, pot roast and vegetables, because Harper's mother still believed in comfort food. The interrogation began immediately. So, Jackson, what are your intentions with my daughter? Dad. Harper choked on her water. It's a fair question. Last week, she was with that Ashford boy. Now, she's engaged to you. I understand your concern, Jackson said calmly. Harper and I connected months ago. I knew immediately she was special. When she told me about Brent's proposal, I realized I couldn't wait any longer. I asked her to be with me. He reached over and took Harper's hand. The gesture looked natural, practiced, but Harper felt the slight tremor in his fingers. That's very romantic, Diane said, clearly charmed. Tell us how you met. They launched into the rehearsed story. Children's Hospital benefit, 2 hours by the bar, connection neither could ignore. Harper watched Jackson sell it perfectly. The right pauses, the right smiles, the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the room. It was all an act except his thumb was tracing circles on her palm under the table. And when he talked about falling for her intelligence first, his voice caught slightly, maybe not entirely an act. "Harper's always been particular about who she dates," Robert said. "You must be something special." "I think I'm the lucky one," Jackson replied, meeting Harper's eyes. The moment stretched. Harper forgot they were pretending. "Well, we approve," Diane announced. "Jackson, you seem like a lovely young man. Very polite. Very successful." "Mom," Harper warned. "What?" "I'm allowed to appreciate your fiancé's accomplishments. Did you know his company just acquired?" "Diane." Robert interrupted gently. "Maybe let them breathe. They survived dinner. Survived dessert. Survived Diane showing Jackson every embarrassing photo from Harper's childhood. "Mom, he doesn't need to see my braces phase. Every mother shows photos, honey." Finally, they escaped to the backyard under the excuse of getting fresh air. "Your parents are nice. Jackson said they liked you. Of course, they liked you. You were perfect. I was honest." He leaned against the porch railing. "Most of what I said was true. The falling for your intelligence part, the knowing you were special." Harper's heart skipped. "Jackson, I know this is complicated, but I wanted you to know tonight wasn't entirely performance for me neither." They stood in comfortable silence, watching fireflies in the yard. Harper's childhood home glowed warm behind them. For a moment, everything felt simple. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number, but Harper knew who it was before she opened it. The message contained a single photo. Harper and Jackson outside the law offices of Whitfield and Associates. The timestamp read "this morning," the same day as their family dinner. Below it, "Found you both visiting contract lawyers. Interesting. Fake engagement exposed." "No," Harper breathed. "No. No. No." Jackson looked over her shoulder and went pale. "How did he?" "He's been following us." Harper's hands shook. "Jackson, he's going to post this. Everyone will know. We went to discuss prenup arrangements. That's normal for wealthy families. Brent knows we don't have prenup lawyers. He has our names on the visitor log. Contract specialists." Jackson grabbed his phone. Already dialing. "I need damage control now." But it was too late. Harper's phone exploded with notifications. Twitter, Instagram, news alerts, and fake engagement was trending. Someone had leaked the photo, not just to social media, to Page 6, TMZ, Entertainment Tonight. Montgomery engagement scandal. Contract lawyers suggest deal, not love. Is Harper Caldwell's romance real or revenge? Sources say Montgomery engagement may be business transaction. "We're finished," Harper whispered. Jackson's jaw tightened. "No, we're not. This is manageable." "Manageable?" "Jackson, the entire world thinks we're frauds. Let them think we know the truth. Do we?" Harper's voice broke. "Because I don't know what's real anymore. I don't know if you're acting or if you actually feel something or if this whole thing was just Harper Caldwell." They both turned. Vivian Montgomery stood at the back gate, immaculate in Chanel and Fury. "Grandmother," Jackson said carefully, "what are you doing here?" "I came to meet Harper's family. Imagine my surprise when I see this." She held up her phone, showing the trending hashtag. "Contract lawyers." "Jackson, really? It's not what it looks like. It looks like you manufactured an engagement to access your trust fund." Vivian's eyes were ice. "Tell me I'm wrong." The silence was deafening. Harper felt everything collapsing. The engagement, the money, Jackson's company, her own reputation, already in tatters, about to become unsalvageable. "Grandmother," Jackson started. But Vivian held up a hand. Don't insult me with more lies." She looked at Harper. "I actually started to believe you two. The way you looked at each other at the gala, the kiss at brunch. I thought perhaps Jackson had finally found something real." "Mrs. Montgomery." Harper's voice cracked. "Save it." Vivian turned back to Jackson. "Board meeting Monday morning. You will explain this to the entire family, and then we'll discuss your future or lack thereof with Montgomery Enterprises." She swept away, leaving destruction in her wake. Harper's mother appeared in the doorway. "Harper, what's going on?" "There are photographers in our driveway. We have to go," Jackson said tersely. "Jackson, now Harper." They fled through the backyard, climbing the fence to avoid the reporters out front. Jackson's car was blocked, so they actually ran down suburban streets until they found a taxi. Inside, both breathing hard, Harper finally broke. "This is over. We're done. Brent won. We can still fix this." How, Jackson? "Everyone knows. Your grandmother knows. My parents are going to find out I lied to them." Tears streamed down Harper's face. "I'm going to lose my job, my reputation, everything. And for what? For $500,000 and a chance to start over. I don't want to start over. I wanted—" She stopped. "Wanted what?" "I wanted this to be real," Harper whispered. "I wanted us to be real, but we're not. We're just two liars who got caught." The taxi pulled up to her building. Harper stumbled out. "Harper, wait. Don't. Please don't." She couldn't look at him. "Monday, you'll face the board. You'll probably lose everything. And I'll go back to being the most hated woman on the internet. That's how this ends." "That's not how this ends." "Then how does it end, Jackson?" He looked at her with something desperate in his eyes. "I don't know, but I'm not ready to give up." "Maybe you should be." Harper turned and walked into her building without looking back. Behind her, Jackson Montgomery sat in the taxi, his carefully constructed world falling apart, and realized that somewhere between the fake engagement and the real feelings, he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. He'd fallen in love with Harper Caldwell, and now he was about to lose everything, including her. Harper spent Sunday in her apartment, wearing sweatpants and eating ice cream directly from the container, while her phone blew up with messages she refused to read. Sloan had tried to intervene. "You need to talk to him." "Why? So he can remind me this was all business." "Harper, that man is in love with you." "No, he's not. He's just good at pretending." "Then why has he called you 17 times? Harper looked at her silenced phone. 17 missed calls from Jackson, 12 texts, 1 voicemail she hadn't listened to. Because he's worried about the board meeting, his company, his reputation, or because he's worried about you. Harper took another bite of ice cream. "Doesn't matter. It's over." But even as she said it, her chest ached. Monday morning, Jackson stood outside the Montgomery Enterprises boardroom in his best suit and worst emotional state. He hadn't slept, hadn't eaten, had spent the entire night trying to figure out how to save his company without losing Harper in the process. So far, no solutions. His lawyer, Patricia, stood beside him, looking grim. "They're going to tear you apart in there. I know you could still spin this. Say it started as convenience but became real. People love a redemption arc." "I'm not using Harper for a redemption arc." Jackson's voice was steel. "She's been through enough. Then you'll lose the company." "I know that too." Patricia studied him. "You really care about her." "I love her." The words came easily now. Too late, but easily. "Which is why I'm going to tell the truth. All of it." "Jackson." "The truth, Patricia. She deserves that much." He walked into the boardroom. 15 board members sat around a mahogany table that had witnessed a century of Montgomery decisions. At the head sat Vivian, looking like a queen about to pronounce judgment. "Jackson," she said coldly. "Sit," he said. "I think we all know why we're here." Vivian folded her hands. "The engagement scandal. Care to explain?" Jackson took a breath. This was it. The moment he either saved himself with lies or honored Harper with truth. "It was fake," he said clearly. "The engagement was a business arrangement." Gasps around the table. Someone muttered, "I knew it. I needed a fiancé to satisfy the trust requirements. Harper needed help with her reputation after the Ashford incident. We made a deal." "A deal?" Vivian's voice could have frozen fire. "You manipulated this family for money." "Yes." Jackson met her eyes. "I did, and it was wrong. I justified it by telling myself it was just business, that no one would get hurt, that I could control everything. But you couldn't." This from his Uncle Thomas, looking disappointed. "No, because I fell in love with her." Jackson's voice cracked slightly. It started as acting, holding hands for cameras, smiling for photographers. But somewhere between the fake dates and the fake affection, it became real. At least for me. "And for her?" Vivian asked. "I don't know. I told her it was just business one too many times. She walked away thinking I didn't care. And I don't blame her." Silence filled the room. Finally, Vivian spoke. You understand what this means? I lose the company. I lose my position. Probably lose my trust fund, too. You lose everything you've worked for. I know, Jackson stood. But I'd rather lose everything honestly than keep it through lies. Harper taught me that. She rejected a proposal in front of 50 people because she couldn't lie about her feelings. She's the bravest person I know, and I owe her the same courage. He pulled an envelope from his pocket. My resignation effective immediately. I'll release a statement taking full responsibility. Harper's name stays clean. Vivian took the envelope, but didn't open it. Sit down, Jackson. Grandmother. Sit down. He sat. Vivian looked around the table. Show of hands. Who thinks Jackson should lose everything over this? 3 hands went up. Thomas. Aunt Margaret. Cousin David. Who thinks there's more to this story? The rest of the hands rose slowly. Vivian turned back to Jackson. You made a terrible decision. You lied to this family. You manipulated circumstances for personal gain. Yes, ma'am. But you also just showed more integrity in 5 minutes than you have in 5 years of playing it safe. Vivian's expression softened slightly. Your grandfather once told me that real character shows up when everything's on the line. Today you showed character. Jackson blinked. I don't understand. You're not losing the company. You're keeping it on probation. 1 year. If you can prove you've learned from this, truly learned, then we'll revisit the trust. But I lied. And you told the truth when it mattered most, even knowing it would cost you everything. Vivian stood. Now get out of my boardroom and go fix things with that girl. If she's half as remarkable as you say, she's probably stress baking right now. Jackson's heart leaped. You're serious? I'm always serious. Go before I change my mind. Jackson ran. Harper was, in fact, stress baking. Her kitchen looked like a bakery had exploded. Cookies covered every surface. 3 types of bread cooled on racks. She was currently elbow-deep in pie dough, while Sloane watched in amazement. This is impressive even for you, Sloane said. I'm processing emotions through carbohydrates. Don't judge. I'm not judging. I'm just wondering if we need to call a therapist or a food truck. The doorbell rang. If that's another reporter, I'm throwing a pie at them, Harper muttered, wiping flour on her apron. She opened the door. Jackson stood there slightly out of breath, his perfect suit rumpled, his hair a mess. You kept the pie dough, he said. Harper looked down. She was, indeed, still holding raw pie dough. What are you doing here? Don't you have a board meeting? I did. It's done. And I told them the truth, all of it, that the engagement was fake, that I made a deal with you, that I'm an idiot who doesn't deserve his company or his trust fund, or... He stopped. Can I come in? Harper stepped aside wordlessly. Jackson walked into the kitchen and stopped. Wow, you really do stress bake. It helps me think. What are you thinking about? How much I want to hate you. Harper set down the dough. You called it a business arrangement. You made me sign a contract. You paid me to pretend to love you. I know. And then you actually made me love you, you jerk. Jackson's eyes widened. You love me? Of course I love you. I love the way you stress bake croissants at 3 a.m. I love that you're terrible at small talk, but perfect at grand gestures. I love that you notice my perfume and hold my hand when I'm nervous and look at me like I'm the only person in the room. Harper's voice broke. And I hate that I love you because it was supposed to be fake, and now it's real, and I don't know how to do this. Harper, I'm not finished. She grabbed a cookie off the counter and took an aggressive bite. You broke your own rules. You said no kissing. You said business arrangement. You said... Jackson crossed the kitchen in 2 strides and kissed her. It was desperate and messy and tasted like cookie dough and everything Harper needed. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jackson cupped her face. I love you, he said. I love your terrible poker face and your stress baking and the way you laugh at my bad jokes. I love that you're honest even when it cost you everything. I love that you made me want to be honest, too. Jackson. I told the board everything. I resigned. I gave it all up. Harper's eyes widened. You what? I gave up the company. The trust fund. All of it. Because keeping it through lies meant losing you. And losing you is worse than losing everything else combined. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. You rejected a proposal because you couldn't lie about your feelings. I needed to do the same, even if it meant losing everything. Did you lose everything? Jackson smiled slightly. My grandmother gave me probation 1 year to prove I learned something. But honestly, I don't care about that right now. I care about you, about us, about whether we can turn this fake engagement into something real. Harper's heart raced. You want to stay engaged? I want to start over. No contracts, no deals, no business arrangements. He pulled the ring off her finger gently. Harper Caldwell, I'm in love with you, completely, irrationally, inconveniently in love with you, and I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm asking anyway. Will you date me for real this time? Harper looked at him. This man who'd been so calculating, so controlled, now standing in her disaster of a kitchen, offering her something genuine. What about the money? She asked. The contract? Void. I don't want you to be with me for money. I want you to be with me because... He stopped. Actually, I have no idea why you'd want to be with me. I'm emotionally stunted and terrible at relationships and you make really good croissants. Jackson blinked. What? And you noticed details, and you protected me from your grandmother, and you told the truth even when it cost you everything. Harper took his hands. You're not as emotionally stunted as you think. Is that a yes? That's a let's start over and see what happens. Harper smiled. No contracts this time. No contracts? Jackson agreed. He pulled her close. Though I should warn you, I'm probably going to fall even more in love with you. I can live with that. They kissed again, surrounded by cookies and bread and the delicious smell of things baking. A perfect metaphor for relationships that need time and heat and patience to become something wonderful. 3 months later, Harper stood in her apartment getting ready for the Montgomery Foundation gala. Not as a fake fiancée, as Jackson's actual girlfriend. They'd taken it slow. Real dates, real conversations, real fights about whose apartment was too messy, his, and whose stress baked too much, both of them. The internet had eventually moved on to other scandals. Brent had sent a surprising apology text. I was a jerk. You deserve better. Like Montgomery, I guess. Harper's parents had forgiven her after meeting Jackson properly. Even Vivian had warmed up, especially after Harper made her grandmother's cookie recipe and earned the highest praise. Acceptable. You ready? Sloane asked, zipping up Harper's dress. Nervous, but good nervous. Can you believe it's been 6 months since the Rockefeller disaster? Harper laughed. Best worst decision I ever made. The doorbell rang. Jackson, right on time. He looked perfect in his tuxedo, but it was his smile when he saw her that made Harper's heart race. You look beautiful, he said. You clean up okay yourself. I brought you something. He held out a small bakery box. Fresh croissants. I made them this morning. You stress-baked before a gala? I was nervous about asking you something. Harper's stomach flipped. Asking me what? Jackson took her hand. Move in with me. No contract. No timeline. Just because I want to wake up next to you and bake croissants together at 3 a.m. when we can't sleep. Harper's eyes filled with tears. That's the least romantic, most perfect thing you've ever said. Is that a yes? That's I already packed a bag. Jackson laughed, a real, genuine laugh, and kissed her right there in the doorway. Sloane Wolfe whistled. Get a room or an apartment, which you apparently are. They made it to the gala late because they kept stopping to kiss in the elevator. At the entrance, cameras flashed, but this time, Harper didn't flinch. She held Jackson's hand and smiled because it was real. Harper. Jackson. How's the relationship? Perfect, Jackson said, looking at Harper like she was the only person in the world. Any plans for the future? Many, Harper answered. But we're taking our time. They walked into the ballroom together. No lies, no contracts, no pretending. Just two people who'd found something real in the middle of a perfectly disastrous, fake engagement. Epilogue. 1 year later, Harper woke up to the smell of fresh croissants. She padded into the kitchen of their apartment, Jackson's penthouse, which now had her books everywhere and her stress baking supplies permanently installed. Jackson stood at the counter in pajama pants, pulling pastries from the oven. Couldn't sleep? Harper asked, wrapping her arms around him from behind. Nervous about the board meeting today. Final evaluation. You're going to be fine. You've spent a year proving yourself. I know, But I'm still. He turned to face her. Harper, I need to tell you something. Her stomach dropped. That sounds serious. It is. He took her hands. A year ago, I hired you to be my fake fiancé. I paid you to pretend to love me. I made you sign a contract. I remember. Where are you going with this? I never paid you. Harper blinked. What? The $500,000? I never transferred it. The contract became void when we started dating for real. So technically, Jackson, I don't care about the money. I know. But I care about keeping promises. He pulled out an envelope. So I'm donating $500,000 to the Children's Hospital Foundation in your name because that's where we supposedly met, and I want it to mean something. Harper's eyes filled with tears. You're donating $500,000. Is that okay? I should have asked first. She kissed him. It's perfect. You're perfect. Well, not perfect. You still can't load the dishwasher correctly, but perfect enough. Jackson grinned. Perfect enough. I'll take it. His phone buzzed. A text from Vivian. Board meeting starts in an hour. Don't be late. And bring Harper. She's part of this family now. She called me family, Harper whispered. Your family. You have been since you baked your way into my grandmother's heart. Jackson kissed her forehead. Come on, let's go find out if I still have a company. You will. And if you don't, we'll figure it out together. Together? I like the sound of that. They got dressed together, bickered about which tie matched his suit, shared croissants and coffee, and headed to Montgomery Enterprises. In the boardroom, Vivian sat at the head of the table, looking imperious as always. Jackson. Harper. Sit. They sat, hands intertwined. 1 year ago my grandson made a terrible decision followed by a good one. He lied, then told the truth. Vivian looked at Jackson. This year, he's rebuilt trust, expanded the foundation, increased profits while maintaining ethics. Most importantly, he found someone who makes him better. She slid a document across the table. Congratulations, Jackson. You're officially the CEO of Montgomery Enterprises. No probation, no conditions. You earned it. Jackson stared at the document. I don't know what to say. Say thank you and take your girlfriend to lunch. Vivian almost smiled. You did good, grandson. Outside, Harper threw her arms around Jackson's neck. CEO, you did it. We did it. I couldn't have done this without you. Sure, you could have eventually. Maybe in a few decades. Jackson laughed and spun her around. I love you. I love you, too. Even when you're being emotionally stunted. I'm working on that. I know you're down to only mildly emotionally reserved. They walked through Manhattan together, just another couple in the crowd, but to each other, they were everything. Harper? Yeah. Remember how you rejected Brent's proposal at Rockefeller Center? Hard to forget. It's literally on YouTube. Want to go back there? Make some better memories. Harper stopped walking. Jackson Montgomery, are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting? I'm not suggesting anything. Not yet. But someday, when we're ready, I want to do it right. Ask you properly without contracts or deals or lies. And if I say yes, then I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret it. Harper kissed him right there on the sidewalk. I already know my answer. Yeah, but you still have to ask properly. I want the full romantic gesture. Noted. I'll start planning. No spreadsheets. Maybe one spreadsheet. A small one. Harper laughed and Jackson pulled her close. And somewhere in the chaos of Manhattan, two people who'd started with a lie found the most honest thing of all. Love. Real, messy, imperfect, absolutely perfect love. The end.